right, so I'm going to go through all this mess here in a moment. We are about to change over a bunch of our tools in the shop here because we're going into the new year. So I have to do this video now because a lot of the stuff is going to be put away or given away or whatever. So this is our starting a woodworking business on a budget, episode 7, I believe. And I'm going to go over the way that I built up my tool collection, and then the follow-up video in a week or two is going to be our upgrading the tools. So we're going to do this one now. Where do we start? Building yourself a workbench and a couple sawhorses. We have a video on that. That's video number 1. So that's taken care of. Okay? Probably the first thing you're going to need is a drill. Probably get a drill and an impact. Nothing wrong with Ryobi or Craftsman. You don't have to get good stuff to start with. This is obviously a no-brainer. That's a given one. And then you're going to need some clamps. We have a whole video on clamps, part of the series too, so go check that out. Now, after I'm done going through this, I'm going to go through the order of how I would get things if I were to do it over again. Okay? So, 5-inch orbital sander. And then if you're going to get that, spend the $10 to get yourself a sanding mouse, and this came with it, because it uses the same disc. If you don't have one, get yourself a good measuring tape to start with. This is less than $10, so we'll have a link down below with everything else. I just find it so much more of a joy to use a tape measure that doesn't suck. So start out with a good one. So let's get into some of the bigger stuff. Okay, let's go to dust collection now. Okay, this is all I ever used. I just plugged it into where the bag goes onto the miter saw. If you don't have that and you're on a budget, that's your dust collection. A good dust mask, less than $20. Okay. Brad nailer. You can use a hammer and nails if you want to, but it's probably much more enjoyable if you use this. And then of course you're gonna have to get yourself one of these. And I believe that the air compressor and the brad nailer are still cheaper than a battery powered one of these. And you can do other things with the air compressor too. Okay, moving on. All right, pocket hole jig. You're on a budget, you don't need this. Like most woodworking tools, there's a cheaper version. This one is around $21. We'll have a link below. You can do everything with this that you can do with every other pocket hole jig. It just takes longer. So because I'm on a budget, I'm going to start with that. Okay, same thing with the joint mate. Put in dowels. I believe this is less than $20. It'll do everything you need it to do, just not as fancy as the other ones. A jigsaw, because sometimes you got to cut around corners. If you guys watched, you all see me start out the mock business with this saw. This is just a jig that I made to basically compensate for a miter saw. So you just stick the board in there and, cut like that. So yeah, basically you can make these. There's other people that made them online. I'm not going to show you how to do it. It's specific to the saw as well. Or you can just use the saw. So it's kind of a long way around to the point here. So also I have myself my cheap $100 V4 router with the plunge base there. Okay, so we've quickly gone over all of this. Now I'm going to tell you and try to make this make sense. What is important to you, in what order do you want it? Okay, first of all, like I said, with the drill, you have to have the drill to start. Now, I know you want one of these, but not wise to buy one right now. You got to make yourself some money first. So you might be able to get one of these at a yard sale. Hopefully you can get a sliding one, or you can just forego the whole thing for right now and use a circular saw. You have to keep in mind you have a finite amount of money. So if you have a budget, you spend that money, you don't have it for other things. So you need to be very selective, because if you can't build something because you don't have the tools, you can't make the money. Okay, this is kind of going back to an old school business sense where, before everybody was taught to use credit cards, and you turned 18, here's a credit card with a $7,000 limit, go get yourself into debt. We're doing things the old way here. It's going to be what matters to you, but this is how I would do it. I would have this, which you can get for virtually nothing, because I'm sure there's a zillion of them around. You probably find one that your dad or grandpa or somebody can let you have. And see if you can find yourself some pipe clamps, maybe for cheap. This tool is pretty essential. I would put a lot of priority into getting an orbital sander because I hate sanding and you have to do it. This I would not worry about. I definitely would get into this because you're going to want to be able to use pocket holes. Probably don't have to worry about dowels at this point as long as you can use pocket holes. It's just not going to break the bank at all, as we discussed. And when you want to make a leap forward into the woodworking, this is what we're going to talk about now. What I would put my energy into saving up for is table saw. Table saw can do so much more than what the miter saw can do. I would buy this way before I buy a miter saw, and you're going to see that in our miter saw video as I'm going to explain it. We have a whole video on that too. And then if you want to get to the next level, like doing benches and coffee tables and stuff like that, you're going to have to get a lunchbox planer. So I did buy this new. It was the cheapest one you could get that was any good. And it's only the 8 1/4, which I'm going to be upgrading because I want a 10-inch blade. I started out with a Ryobi sliding miter saw. That was an upgraded one. And of course, that's my original one there, that little guy. I don't like it. Okay, so we're in Canada. So I paid $200 Canadian for this. I'm going to use it until I can upgrade it. And then I am going to sell it for $200 and get my money back. Because it's definitely worth that. This is an older model of a DeWalt planer. And one of the reasons why I bought it is because when people come in the shop here to order, like after they order stuff or to pick it up, they can see that it's a DeWalt planer. It makes me look a little bit better than having a Mastercraft one, which would be like a Bauer in the States. If Bauer even makes planers, I don't know. But just this kind of a fake it till you make it kind of a thing. Make it look like you got all fancy DeWalt tools. And then this, my bandsaw that I've used on the camera once. And in reality, I've used it twice. And I bought it about a year and a half ago. I had to take it apart to fit it in the Corolla to bring it home. And it's been sitting collecting dust the whole time, so don't buy one of those unless you, that's definitely a luxury thing. Use the jigsaw, it's much cheaper. But at the same time too, I paid $200 for the bandsaw, and when I go to sell it, I'll get $200 for it. And I'm just gonna tell you the reason why I would focus on these guys so much, because they seem like big ticket items or whatever. With these two things, the planer and the table saw, you can make a board work. You can use the planer as a joiner, and you can make sure that the board is nice and square and straight and flat with these two tools. When I didn't have the planer, I was having to be very selective with the wood, and if anything ever happened, like it started to twist, and I was kind of screwed. That's why I really wanted the planer, and like I said, it only cost me a couple $100 to get a used one. I put new blades in it, works perfectly fine. I will upgrade it at some point in the near future. Like I said, this table saw is fine. I just want a bigger one. That's why I have a 10-inch one coming. Okay, so this is extremely handy as well. Having a belt sander with a disc sander, I use that a lot. But it's up to you whether or not you want to prioritize something like that. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful. I'm just trying to give you my opinion, and please put in the comments what you guys think and share your ideas. And hopefully this allows you to process things in a way that allows you to be wise with your budget when you're starting out. Okay, so I just unboxed all of our nice new tools here. It is actually New Year's Eve. We got about 8 hours left in the year. Just want to give you kind of my feelings on the whole thing about building up the tools from the beginning on a budget, of course. I feel like it benefited me a lot to have to go through working with, subpar tools, and then, now having upgrades like this for the trim router, because the other trim router, it does the job, but it's not very good. I think it probably made me a better woodworker having to deal with some of that stuff, and now I'm going to take it up to the next level. And then, guys, this has been a long time in the making here. This saw was delivered here in June. It's been sitting over there in the corner, and all of this has been added to it ever since then. So I've been waiting on these tools for a long time, showing you that I didn't need them to do the stuff that we were doing. But now I'm going to up the game here, and we're going to move forward with some more, hopefully, advanced projects as well. We'll still do simple stuff too. My one thought, if I had to do it all over again, and if you have the money, get a 10-inch table saw. The other one served my purposes quite well, and I could keep using it. But this is just one of those things that I wish that I got. Everything else I don't regret. Everything else I kind of upgraded and I don't mind. And of course, it was the same thing with that down the road. I used to use a much smaller one, and this one is much nicer, but I was fine with the 10-inch Ryobi one for a long time. Okay, also, all you guys out there that are watching this that have any experience buying tools or whatever, this is the video where you comment, because you want to help other people make decisions, hopefully to save them money and go down the path that they want to go down. Because the tools are going to be dependent on what you're trying to do, right? Some people just buy things that they shouldn't be buying because they saw somebody else do it. Thanks for all you YouTube people for pushing all that stuff and putting all the links down below saying, oh, you need to buy this. I wish you all a happy new year. and we're going to look forward to what we got coming up. And we're going to link to our DIY channel. We still would like you to go over there if you haven't already and help us get to 1,000 subs so we can get it monetized and do a bunch more projects over there as well. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next year.